Welcome back, everyone. If you could please like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. So in today's video, I'm going to go over 7 composition mistakes that every new photographer makes. And of course, all of us make mistakes all of the time. I know that I still make these 7 mistakes, so don't feel bad if you make them or you made them yesterday or something like that. All that really matters is that you improve every time you get out there and shoot. And just so you know, all of the pictures that I'm going to be showing you today are pictures that I took around 10 to 14 or so years ago. And I wanted to share them with you so you can see that even someone with more experience started off maybe in the place you are now, if that makes sense. Also, I came out with a video recently that was about 7 lighting mistakes, or I should say 8 lighting mistakes that photographers make. So if you want to go ahead, I'll put a link to that and you could check that out as well. So in this very first example, I've got a lovely model with a great dress at a marina, and I probably shot this picture stopped down quite a bit. And as you can see, looking at the background, there's a lot in focus. And unfortunately, when you're shooting at a place on location like a marina, there's a lot of vertical lines from the masts, diagonal lines from the ropes. There are all sorts of things in the background. Maybe they're even going to be shiny things with the sun glinting, or I think that's the word, reflecting off of it. So you'd be way better off in a situation like this shooting at maybe f4 or 2.8 or maybe f2. As you can see in this picture, the background is a lot simpler as we go in tighter on the subject. And another thing you can do is also to shoot with a longer lens, because a longer lens will result in less depth of field, and that'll help you control some of those distracting background elements. So the second mistake that we're going to talk about today is not enough is in focus. Sure, if you're at the marina and you're shooting at f4 or 2.8 or f2, that's going to help you out so that less of those distracting elements are in focus. But when you go into other environments and you're using that sort of bokeh-licious approach, you can run into problems where, let's say, something like their entire garment isn't in focus. And if you're shooting a fashion image, you're going to need everything on their person for the most part to be sharp. That's why in the studio, most of the time, we're going to shoot at around 5.6 or f8. And so that's the approach that I would normally take during a fashion shoot if I had a very simple background and I didn't need to open up in order to reduce the distractions in the shot. So number 3 is when part of your shot or your background is brighter than your subject's face. What happens when you're in that situation is you end up creating competition for the viewer between the subject and that bright item. So in this example, the lower half of the shot has a very bright window and it's much brighter than the subject's face. So the viewer isn't really going to know where to look. They're going to be ping-ponging, down, up, down, up, down, up, and that sort of thing. If there were a light bulb maybe somewhere else in the shot, that could also be causing a distraction. Or it could just be that maybe you're outside and sun is reflecting off of a metallic object. These sorts of things are going to cause competition for the viewer. Now, if you were to use a lightly colored background, or the garments overall were to be lighter than the subject's face, you wouldn't be in the same competition space. The reason is that there's going to be so much in the frame that's brighter than the subject's face that the viewer's just sort of going to look past it, and they're still going to look at the subject. But going back to this example, when the bottom is bright and the subject's face is at the top, it's going to create a really bad situation where the viewer doesn't know exactly where to look. But before we move on, I just wanted to say that if you enjoy learning from me in these videos, you probably would also enjoy reading my 2 lighting handbooks. Volume 2, which just came out, has 23 different one-light setups, and Volume 1 breaks down 20 different multiple light setups. In each of these digital downloads, you'll find behind-the-scenes photos, diagrams, and the final images, as well as a full breakdown of how I got the images That way you'll be able to use it as inspiration or recreate the exact photos on set during your next photo shoot. And in addition to that, you'll get my Intro to Lighting Guide free. This 31-page digital download goes over all of the fundamentals of lighting. That way you'll have everything you need to get started in the studio. So for more information and to get your copy today, just go to johngress.com/lightinghandbooks. So number 4 is when there's no separation in the shot between objects that are really important. So as you can see in this example, the back of her thigh sort of blends into the background, as does her garment. And if those areas of the background, or I should say if you lit those areas of the body or clothing a little bit more, they would be brighter than the background. Or if you brightened the background a little bit, but not too bright, then you would have some separation there between the person and the background. Now, artistically, it is okay sometimes if there is no separation, but for the most part, you're going to want your subject to stand out from the background, and so making sure that that separation exists will go a long ways. So the 5th compositional mistake is when your subject is missing a limb. It's very distracting to me that when you see one hand, you don't see the other. And the same thing goes when you see one foot, you don't see the other. In this particular example, if I had just turned her very slightly so that her left shoulder were closer to the camera, then you would have seen her left arm and her left hand. Now I know that not everybody agrees with this position, but it is something that's really important to me. So almost all of the time, I'm going to make sure that I don't have any missing limbs. Number 6 sort of goes along with missing limbs, and that's when you crop at the joint. It can be very uncomfortable to the viewer when you see a composition where the edge of the frame goes right through the elbow or the wrist or the knee or the ankle. And so you want to make sure that you go in the middle of the upper arm or the middle of the forearm and you don't end up cutting them off right here at the ankle. Now I have made some exceptions, wrist, right here at the wrist. Now I have made some exceptions, which was this picture where I cut the person off at the ankle, and I didn't mean to do it. It just sort of happened. And I think the picture kind of works, but almost all of the time, I would avoid doing this because it's normally a bad idea. And the 7th and final mistake that I'm going to talk about in today's video is when you screw up with the retouching and you miss a spot. So I remember back when I shot this, it was a February day. It was the first February day above freezing. And so I was itching to shoot outside. And so I got together with my stylist friends. Well, I don't know if it was Richard or Isaac, but I think it was Richard. And maybe they were both there. And anyway, we got this model Moji up on the rooftop, and of course we had great sunset light. There was great color harmony between her red dress and the blue sky, and the city looks amazing. And so when I got it into the computer, I zoomed in on her, I made sure that she looked great, and I posted it. Of course, what did I miss? I missed that there was ice running along the roof line, and I should have just cloned it out in Photoshop. I should have seen it and taken care of it in Photoshop. So just make sure that when you're retouching an image, you look at it holistically, make one final bird's eye view pass before you hit post, and make sure that you're not missing a spot. Anyway, guys, I hope that all made sense and helped. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them below. And as always, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.